The Viridian warship hung in Earth's orbit like a predator sizing up its prey. Commander Draz stood on the bridge, mandibles clicking in barely contained amusement as the primitive human defenses scrambled below. The conquest of Earth would be trivial, another footnote in the expanding Viridian Empire. Pathetic, Draz rumbled, studying the tactical display. They still rely on chemical propellants for their weaponry. His second-in-command, Officer Krell, nodded. Our analysis shows their most advanced military technology utilizes combustion reactions to launch projectiles or detonate explosive compounds. Quaint, Draz said. Reminds me of technologies we abandoned 4 centuries ago. The Viridians had expected more from the species that had managed to achieve limited interplanetary travel. Humans had colonized their moon and Mars, established orbital habitats, and sent probes throughout their solar system. Yet their weapons remained remarkably primitive compared to Viridian phase cannons and gravitational disruptors. Begin the standard intimidation protocol, Draz ordered. Demonstrate our technological superiority by disabling their largest military installation. The Viridians targeted a naval base in the Pacific Ocean, their ship's weapons charged, glowing with exotic energies as they prepared to fire. Admiral Jones stared at the massive alien vessel displayed on the command center screens. Humanity had prepared for this moment since the first confirmed extraterrestrial signals were detected decades ago. While publicly Earth's governments spoke of peaceful contact, privately they had developed contingencies for less friendly encounters. They're charging weapons, Lieutenant Reed reported, voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Energy signatures unlike anything we've recorded before. Jones nodded. Deploy Project Thunderbolt. The order went out to the secret orbital platform disguised as a civilian research station. Unlike Earth's publicly acknowledged defenses, Thunderbolt had been developed in absolute secrecy, a collaboration between the world's top powers. On the station, Captain Miller received the authorization codes. He turned to his crew, faces grim with determination. Initialize the electromagnetic accelerator, Miller commanded. Load the tungsten projectile. The crew worked with practiced efficiency. The Railgun was Earth's best-kept military secret, a weapon using electromagnetic forces to accelerate projectiles to velocities that made traditional chemical propellants look like ancient catapults. Target locked, reported the weapons officer. Capacitors charged to 100%. Miller took a deep breath. Fire. On the Viridian warship, alarms suddenly blared. Officer Krell looked up in confusion. Commander? Detecting a small object approaching at extremely high velocity, Draz frowned. Impossible, their technology can't. The rest of his sentence was lost as the 25-kilogram tungsten rod, traveling at 15 kilometers per second, struck the Viridian warship. The kinetic energy unleashed was equivalent to a small tactical nuclear weapon, but without radiation. The impact tore through the supposedly impenetrable alien shields and pierced the hull like paper. Secondary explosions cascaded through the vessel as critical systems failed, the bridge filled with smoke and the screams of injured crew. Impossible? Draz gasped, pulling himself from the floor. Their weapons are primitive. Krell stumbled to the damage control station. The projectile wasn't propelled by chemical means, Commander. Readings indicate electromagnetic acceleration. Draz's compound eyes widened. They'd developed mass drivers. Hull breach in sections 7 through 12. Another officer reported. Main power failing. Atmospheric loss detected. Return fire. Draz ordered, but the control panels flickered and went dark. On Earth, Admiral Jones watched as the alien vessel listed in orbit, venting atmosphere and debris. Direct hit, Lieutenant Reed confirmed. Their shields failed completely. Jones didn't smile. There was no joy in combat, only necessity. Prepare communication channels. Let's see if they're willing to talk now. Within minutes, the Viridian ship transmitted surrender protocols. Emergency systems had prevented total destruction, but the vessel was crippled beyond repair. 3 days later, Commander Draz sat across from Admiral Jones in a secure facility. The surrender had been formalized, and now came the discussions. We severely underestimated your species, Draz admitted. Our intelligence suggested you were centuries behind us technologically. Jones nodded. A common error when assessing other civilizations. You focused on our visible technology and missed our hidden developments. The weapon you used, Draz said, we call it a mass accelerator. We abandoned such designs because our energy-based weapons proved more effective against our usual adversaries. We called it a railgun, Jones replied. Simple in concept, electromagnetic acceleration of a projectile. No exotic physics required, just engineering refinement and power management. Draz's mandibles twitched. The simplicity is what deceived us. We were looking for quantum disruption fields, antimatter weapons, technology befitting an interstellar species. Humanity learned long ago that sometimes the most effective solution isn't the most complex, Jones said. Kinetic energy is universal. No shields designed for energy weapons can easily stop a solid projectile moving at that speed. The Viridian commander nodded slowly. A lesson my people have now learned as well. The Empire has encountered many species, but none that have surprised us like yours. As Draz was escorted back to his temporary quarters, he reflected on how the Viridian Empire had grown complacent. They had categorized Earth as an easy conquest based on incomplete intelligence, overlooking the ingenuity that defined humanity. Meanwhile, Admiral Jones returned to the Pentagon, where world leaders waited for his report. The Viridian surrender had opened diplomatic channels, but he knew better than to assume Earth's troubles were over. We got lucky, he told the assembled officials. They underestimated us, which won't happen again. We need to accelerate our defense programs immediately. The room fell silent as the implications settled in. Humanity had won its first extraterrestrial confrontation not through overwhelming force, but through clever application of relatively simple physics and the element of surprise. Beyond the solar system, the silent void of space carried the message of Earth's victory to the stars. Humanity had announced its presence to the galactic community not with peaceful overtures, but with the unmistakable statement that this young species would not be conquered easily. The universe, it seemed, would have to reconsider its assessment of Earth.